Hey everyone, what's going on? It is Ando, and we've got another Star Wars Galaxy of Hero video today where we are talking about Morgan Elsbeth and what she's going to be bringing to the holo table. So let's go ahead and get right into it. This is one of the ones that I was really excited to see, just because she is one of the named characters, right? I've always had a bigger association to those that have an actual name, other than like the Night Trooper and stuff like that. They're cool, obviously cool kits, but I always feel like we're getting closer to like the story when we have like I said, a main character, so to speak. So she's dark side, obviously dark side tank and night sister. Nothing surprised there. The big thing to note, like within the inspiration, key attributes and stuff like that, is they're kind of throwing us a wrench. This is a pivot for essentially the new Night Sister team that they're going to make. You know, time will tell if we actually make a new Night Sister team. I think it will. Like, to be fair, I think it will. But you never know what people can come up with, especially once Datacrons start getting thrown in there. Every single time a new element gets thrown there, whether it's like an Omicron, a Datacron, just new kits in general, you never know how things are going to synergize, what people will come up with, all these other things. So it'll be interesting to see. The big thing that came from this, they're not going to do their official Q&A for this, but Morgan is going to be needed for Baylan Skoll's epic confrontation, which is going to require Morgan Elsbeth at Relic 7. Okay, so let's talk about that really quick. I think for those of you that are saving up for Ahsoka, don't be surprised if Baylan Skoll is a requirement. I don't know if he's going to be, but the way that I'm reading this is they're really talking a lot about, him, and or like they in these things that I think are requirements for Galactic Legend Ahsoka. I forgot that there's like this underlying passage that is Baylan Skoll. I hope that it's not the case, because it seems like Baylan Skoll is going to have his own set of requirements, but the story makes too much sense. When we looked at those like little bubbles where they were kind of giving out like what's going to be next, it also made sense too. There's quite a few dark side characters. It could just be Morgan Elsbeth. It could be the Night Trooper, all that other stuff. Like, yes, obviously, but it wouldn't surprise me if Baylan Skoll was also required. So just so you guys know, just so you guys are at least keeping that in your thoughts. All right, let's read the abilities here and talk about them. See what's good, what's not good, and everything in between. All right, we got basic here, Blade of Talzin. Deal physical damage to the target enemy, and Morgan gains defense up, protection up for 1 turn. If the target enemy is inflicted with defense down, the weakest other non-tank Night Sister ally stealths for 1 turn. All right, so yeah, basically the weakest, ally, as long as it's not a tank, gonna gain stealth. So you're basically hiding them, so only AoEs can kill them, kind of thing. If Morgan is taunting, inflict target enemy with vulnerable for 1 turn. Basic is going to be kind of important. Like it's going to be interesting to see what the damage is. It's going to be interesting to see if there's a lot of calls to assist as well. Because her next specials are all 4 cooldowns. So you're going to have to kind of, I think, use them sparingly. Whereas beforehand, that wasn't, a lot of the times the cooldowns stagger in such a way where it's like, hey, cooldown 2, cooldown 1, or cooldown, or sorry, special 1, special 2, or something like that is usually special 2, special 1, basic, then back to a special, right? Like that's usually how we cycle through things. But with a cooldown of 4 on both, you're going to need to kind of use them a little bit more sparingly, I think. All right, so we've got My Loyalty, My Life, again, cooldown 4. Dispel all buffs on all enemies, which is awesome. Mass AoE buff dispel. All Night Sister allies recover 50% health and protection and gain defense penetration up for 2 turns. Amazing health recovery here. If Morgan is taunting, all Night Sister allies gain 20% turn meter and tenacity up for 2 turns, right? Again, some TM gain. Tenacity up is an awesome tool here. I love that. I really like this ability. All right, special 2, Let None Pass. Again, a 4 cooldown, and it is an Omicron as well. All right, we're going to deal physical damage to the target enemy. We're going to blind them for one turn, inflict them with armor shred for the rest of the encounter, and call all other Night Sister allies to assist. If this attack defeats an enemy, blind all enemies for 2 turns. That's really overpowered. I mean, not overpowered, I guess, but it's really strong, right? To inflict a AoE blind. It is sort of a niche condition, but who knows? This might be a pretty cool thing. Especially with it's a call to assist, right? So there's a pretty decent chance that I think you probably end up blinding them, but we'll see. All right, and so she has an Omicron for Grand Arena here. While in Grand Arena, stagger the target enemy for 2 turns and expose all enemies and inflict them with buff immunity for 2 turns. You gotta love the buff immunity. It's a really good debuff. If target enemy is inflicted with defense down, Night Sister allies gain an additional 5% damage, and the cooldown of their abilities is decreased by 1. All Night Sister allies gain Frenzy for 1 turn and Protection up for 2 turns. That Frenzy is huge, obviously. Yeah, that's a big part of this kit. It reads simple, but it's a big part of this. You're gonna be essentially, by doing this move in Grand Arena, you essentially guarantee yourself the next 5 turns, right? Roughly. So pretty big deal. All right, unique 1. This is a pretty big one, right? If you could kind of see, like, it's the block of text here. Everything else has been relatively tame, but this is where we get kind of the big overarching theme here with Morgan. So at the start of battle, all Night Sister allies gain 10% crit chance, defense, and max health. 30% tenacity and 50% max protection. Whenever another Night Sister ally stealths, they gain 15% crit damage for 1 turn. Morgan taunts for 1 turn, and all Night Sister allies recover 25% health. Whenever a Night Sister ally gains foresight, they gain 20% offense and for 1 turn, and all Night Sister allies recover 25% protection. We haven't seen what the team is going to be, but I feel like this would be Spirit, right? I feel like this is a call out to Night Sister Spirit. Whenever a Night Sister ally critically hits an enemy, the enemy is inflicted with defense down for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. The first time each other Night Sister ally falls below 20% health, they gain foresight and stealth for 2 turns. Morgan gains 20% defense until the end of a counter, and they and Morgan recover 30% health and protection, and gains 30% turn meter. A lot of going on there, but basically it just sounds like as soon as they fall below 30 or 20% health, they're gonna gain they're gonna regain some footing in the fight. With 30% turn meter gains here, plus the recovery and the health and protection, and just a little bit of defense there too. They're going to try and basically kind of make their stand there. So it's going to be really interesting how you kind of play this team, because I think you're going to want to wait as long as you can to try and kind of go below or beat this 20% threshold. Whenever Morgan is defeated, inflict all enemies with health down for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. All Night Sister allies recover 100% health and protection and gains 5% crit avoidance in defense, plus an additional 10% crit avoidance in defense per relic amplifier level Morgan had until the end of the encounter. So we all know that we have to have her at relic 7 just to participate in the Balin Skull epic confrontation. So you're already just gonna buff because she's a tank and she's taunting, you're gonna buff 4 other characters ish of 70% defense and crit avoidance. You're gonna feel that for sure. When Morgan taunts, all Night Sister allies gain 20% health and protection. Remember, that's gonna happen quite often. And gain 15% offense until she loses taunt. Whenever she loses taunt, she recovers 5% health and protection and gains 10% turn meter. Defeated allies can't be revived. All right, so this is where they're making that big. This one sentence here is where they're making their stand that there's not gonna be a Talzin, or really the one I'm thinking of is Daka. It's just, this is going to be its own team. They're gonna try their best, at least through just this one this one line here. Effective persists through defeat. Okay, so yeah, I think this is really solid. Again, we'll have to wait to see what her stats look like, but man, there's a lot of really annoying things here. Like that unique is crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on in there where not only is there's a lot of recovery that's happening, so you're going to give them a chance to at least get a turn, right? At least get their foot into the door, maybe rip some banners if they're on defense, or maybe get your foot in the door to try a kind of a riskier counter. But then there's also just the added, the crit avoidance and the defense that's happening from what's presumably going to be, she's going to be the first one killed, I think. And yeah, there's just a lot that goes on in here. You're also there's a lot of buffing to the offense. So I'm assuming the other characters are there's going to be some heavy hitter. And like I said, Spirit's not a bad choice here. I don't know if it's going to be Spirit, but that's just sort of how I've read this, at least initially. I don't know if they put it in here, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. Like this is a pretty sweet kit. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.